Now, here with me are 7 signs that you're actually in control of your finance. And by the way, you're doing good. Everything is good. And you have that what we call a green flag, like everything gonna be nice with you. And by the way, there's nothing important in life than understanding yourself and also knowing where you are heading. You may not be 100% sure, but at least, hey, I got some qualities that ought to have for me to be a financially freedom in future, right? So let's get into the business. The point number one, all right? Point number one, or one sign that you ought to show or shows that you're actually in control of your finance, is that you have a reduced appetite as far as the spending of your money is concerned. You have a reduced appetite as far as appetite to spending. Okay, what does it mean? Have you ever seen an individual who, wherever they see money, they surely view it as a commodity to be used? They view it like expenditure. Whenever they get paid, they think about shopping, making themselves happy, going for an outing, road drive and all those kind of things. They just feel whenever they get money, it's just about consumption. It's about consumption. And whenever you try to show them, hey, guess what, this money ought not be consumed this way, we ought to, they say you, I mean, why are you viewing it? I mean, life is short, life is for the living, YOLO, you only live once, and all those kind of things. So if you know one thing, you're not affected by that. You can get money, sometimes even good money, but you're just okay, you're relaxed, you're good. Okay, and it takes time before you even spend that money. It's like not I mean, not even anyone can actually realize that you got some money out there. You're just out there, you're just relaxed. At that particular point, we say you have what we call the qualities and you are in control of your finance. And have you ever seen some people who lose control once they get money? It's true, I've interacted with those kind of guys, and you find these guys, like, they can drink themselves out, they are rude, they just are disrespectful. Sometimes you realize, like, wow, this guy have changed. So even their expenditure and everything, they have actually even think about migrating from where they are. They go live in a better life. We do love better lives. That's, everyone loves better life. But do you justify? Can you actually justify why you actually want to migrate from where you are to the next level? So if you realize you getting money on board does not really alter you in a big way, like you ought to even change your character and all those kind of things, that it means you have a reduced appetite to spending your money. Usually take your time before you make a decision of as far as that expenditure of money is concerned. All right. Number two, usually have what we call regular checkings. Okay, regular what? Regular checkings about, or we call them the regular financial checkings. Okay, regular financial checkings, like they usually take your car for a checking. You change your oil, you do some adjustments here and there. Maybe the wheel has worn out, or the tire has worn out, to be specific. There are some metals that ought to be changed here and there. Also yourself, you need to adjust on yourself. You realize maybe you are overweight, you need to exercise, at least to be good in all those kind. Like, usually check about your life. Also, when it comes to finance, you ought to do what you call the regular financial checkings. You'll go back and check her. Okay, how much do I dedicate towards my school fees? How much goes towards entertainment? How much do I spend in terms of the black tax and all those kind of areas? So if you do not do the regular checkings, you won't really even know exactly where your money is going. So it is good to make sure that at least you do regular checkings, because you see, we usually say as you grow old, you have more financial responsibilities. Probably there was a time you were single, now you married, you got a kid, or you had a kid, now you have kids, you have some people whom you're educating, you have some family members relying or depending on you. Then you have some, you see, as you grow old, you become, or you have more responsibilities on top of your life. Maybe you're having some jobs and businesses that you're running. There's some bills to be paid out there, operational costs out there. There's some of the, all those kind of things. So it is good to have yourself the regular checking, so that you can adjust when or where applicable. That way, if you usually have that character, then you ought, or you have that what it calls, or that what we say, you have control of your finances. All right, now let's go to the point number three. Point number three is that investment is not new. It's not new news to you. See, investments is not new news. It's not new news to you. What does it mean? Like, you already know, hey, you ought to invest. We have to do something. This money that you are getting, we can channel it somewhere where we can be getting some things as we progress to the next level. You see, when someone introduces you something like an investment, a business, you don't like surprising you. I didn't know that. You know why? Because one thing, for you, for the investment not to be a new news to you, you must be consuming something called infotainment. You love understanding how the economy of your country is faring up. What are the best areas where you can channel your money? Perhaps probably you've been interacting with some people. Sometimes not a must that when you have the cash, but you interact with them. You ask the questions. You are concerned about anything. For example, I remember back then I used to even ask some of the prices of things that I could even even afford at that particular time. I could see you with a car and ask you like, how much does this cost? Oh, and by the way, for this business, like how much someone needs like to come up with this kind of a business? Oh, an X amount of money. Oh, wow. The guy would think like I have the money to start that business, but I was hungry for the knowledge. You ought to have that hunger for the knowledge for you to be in a situation whereby, so for example, I come here and say, hey, there's something called index fund. You don't be like, what? I've never heard of that. So you already know the information. All what you need to do is, or have, is what we call the hand holding, someone to hold you, to show you the way on how you can be able to come up with that investment as you progress to the next level. So if you are in control of your finances, it's things to do with investments is not making any news to you. But if you can get or hear something that is way new, you've never heard of it, you usually develop that curiosity and be able to understand, hey, how and what do I need for me to invest in that area? What are the returns? And by the way, the other thing that you're supposed to understand when you are in control of your finances, you don't rush into making an investment. Okay, you don't rush. You know, there are some these people who do not have the understanding as far as the finance is concerned. So the moment you tell them where they can be able to make money, immediately they get their money, they invest in that area that they do not even understand. They invest on the basis of it was promised that they're going to have some good returns. No, you invest because you have the understanding of that area. Some people do invest because they have the money that is enough. It's like asking somebody, how much will it cost me coming up with this beauty shop? Hey, they say, hey, if you have 300K, you are good to go. Okay, fine. You go start yours. On what basis? I have the 300K and I was told that 300K is enough. See, it's good to understand that before you actually do the groundbreaking to invest, you already know why you are investing in that specific area. Let's go to the point number 4. The point number 4 is none other than you have a plan. Okay, you have a plan. When I say you have a plan, it simply means like you know what you're doing. In other words, I'm saying you have a what? You have a goal, okay, or you have a budget, okay, you have something that you're aiming, and these goals you can compartmentalize them. What does it mean? You have a 6 months goal, you have 3 weeks goal, you have a year goal, you have 2 years goal, you have 10, 15, 30, 50, depends. What I say that is that, for example, you may be like, okay, fine, by in 3 weeks time, I want to go do my car a repair because of this and that. Or maybe say, hey, guess what? By the time we are going to the April next year, I want to do farming. So there I have to get a piece of land where I can lease, then I can be able to do the farming. Like you have that specific plan and goal and budgeting. And the only way you can be able to achieve your goal is you having the budget. And I usually tell people budgets like that map. It's like a Google map that you use whenever you go to a place that you do not understand. And I always love to give this analogy. Can you just imagine this? You're not a Kenyan. You have invited you here in Kenya, and I tell you, hey, I want us to go to Laikipia. You've never been to Kenya. You don't even know where is Laikipia. But I've just told you, hey, you're going to be the driver and I want you to take me to Laikipia. First of all, you'll ask me, okay, fine. Where is the map? I mean, what route should I use? Okay, so what does it mean? You ought to have a route that you are using. You cannot say that my goal is to have 100,000 at the end of the year. My goal is to have 1,000,000 bob. My goal is to have 100 or 10 or whichever the amount of money. And then you cannot front a budget that will guide you towards doing that. You ought to have yourself a budget, a guide that will actually direct you towards that specific goal that you're aiming out there. And I always tell people, if you fail to plan, it's basically like to do what? It's planning to fail. That's a reality. And whenever you aim at nothing, you always hit a target. That's for sure. Whenever you do not have a goal, any amount of money will always be amazing to you. And that's why you end up consuming that money. Another thing, you end up having what we call the idle money. And, what we call it? This money that is not even, sort of directed to go anywhere. It's just resting idle somewhere. And that money is the one that's usually used to squander your life and all those kind of things. By the time you realize 10, 15, 30 years, 50, 60 years has gone, you've done nothing. Then you keep on now shifting the blame to everyone who is surrounding you. All right? Let's go to the point number 5. The point number 5 is that you usually have the capability to do what? To do debt management. Okay, debt is okay. Usually take debt because debt is a good thing anyway. If you are getting it to invest, and if you're getting it to invest, you already know, hey, if I get this debt, this is how I can manage it. This is how I can get myself out of it. And maybe perhaps, some people usually get themselves in what we call the debt stress. There are people who suffer from the debt stress. These are guys whom you find like, hey, they have a debt and they're really trying. We find somebody has like, for example, here in Kenya, we have some lending apps, a lot of them indeed. So you can just download an app and get a debt from them. And by the time you realize the time has elapsed for you to repay back the debt, and then you borrow another one to pay the previous one, you borrow another one to pay the previous. By the time you realize you have like 4, 5 those kind of apps that you've borrowed like a lot of things. And some of this debt that you're getting, you're channeling towards the consumables, things that do not generate any income for you in any way. So it is good to be very careful the type of a debt that you're taking. Debt is good if you can channel it towards an investment that is generating income at the end of the day. So if you have the capability to manage your debt, then it tells you everything is good, unless something crazy happens. For example, you might be very good financial, you have a good financial management skills and what have you, but something like COVID-19 shows up. See, it's a thing that even if you're a smart, you didn't even anticipate, then it happens. Or maybe an accident, then you go to for example, like a fire to your business, and God forbid, no one can plan for that, and maybe you didn't even insure your business or something of sort. So unless such kind of a crazy things happen, that's the time you can say, hey, you're getting yourself in a debt stress or something else. Or maybe you start a business, things didn't go as you anticipated. So in that case scenario, then does not really qualify you to be not in control of your finances. So it's good to make sure that I always say they have two things. We have the internal factors and the external factors. See, the internal factors, we are in control of them, but the external ones, we do not have a control over them. Okay, so it's like you being a doctor, and then a sick person shows up, and you treat them on the basis of, hey, if I get well, I go out there, I do I work, then I'll be able to pay you back. So you can't treat them after some few days, they disappear, or meaning like they die or something of sort. So it does not mean that you didn't play your cards well. Okay, I don't find that may be like an ugly sort of an example, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, so you're excused when some of those things that you're not in control of happens in this life. Okay, now we go to the point number 6. And point number 6, you can live beyond your life right now. Usually, okay, let's just put it in a simple words. You live below your means. You live below your means. What does it mean? Like, you do have the capability of living way above the life that you're living right now, but it is not stressing you up. It's you're just comfortable, everything is good. Like, hey, guess what, you seeing people flexing with big cars, and you're like, even if I want to grab it today, I can just grab it. It's not really a bother to you. Okay, you are not in competition with anybody, right? You're just on your own lane, and everything is good, and you're progressing to the next level. So you have the capability of living above your means right now, but you're choosing not to. You don't want to complicate your life and all those kind of things. That is very, 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 very high intelligence whenever it comes to the finance. Okay, the last one but not the least is that, guess what? You view money as a tool to make more money, but not as a commodity to be consumed. You view money as a tool to make more of it than a commodity to be consumed. See, there are people who usually sees money and say, hey, this ought to be consumed. This is the money that I want to enjoy myself with, and all those kind of things. But the moment you see money on top of the table, you ask yourself, okay, fine, I have like $1,000,000 on my hands. Okay, fine. What can I do with this $1,000,000 to actually be making me at least even if it's 10,000 a month or something of sort? Like, you usually think about, hey, what can I do with this amount of money that I have on my hands that can actually expand my basket of income? So if that is your perception, rather than having that character of expenditure, then I'm telling you, you're in control of your finances. By the way, that marks the end of my video, but don't forget, I do post a video each and every day. If you don't want to miss a piece of my good video, make sure that you subscribe down below there, hit that like button, comment down below, and don't forget, you can as well pick my number from the description of this specific video. Get my booklets about investments or my services on finances. For now, say goodbye. See you the next time.